Welcome back to Build Your Blog. Okay, this episode here, we're going to actually look at how we change the appearance of the home page. And then what we're going to do is to post up one blog post just so that we get a feel for the different elements that we can add and so forth. So let's get started then. Here we have our home page as it is at the moment. And in order to make changes like images and things like the branding and the logo in the top left and so forth, we actually do that through the editor. So I'm going to click on the editor now and take us to the editor. We're going to need to log in. It may already go straight to it if we've logged in recently, but I'm just going to go straight into there. Okay, so what we actually have here is our home page for the editor. You can see I've only got one single blog post at the moment, and I've got pages and I've got settings. We've looked at some of the settings. We can always come back to this later, but bear in mind that the settings is where you do things like add your social media and so forth. But let's have a look up here. We've got the contents, that's where we are now. We've got workflow, although actually if I click on workflow, you'll see that I've got no drafts and no copies in review, nothing ready. So there's no entries in here, but this is where we actually can see the status of our various posts that we will have later on. And the other thing we can have a look at is the media. So we click on media. This is actually some placeholder images that's in there already. As you can see, this image down here, pages.jpg, that's the one we're using currently for our home page. And then we've got a few other images that I've just left in the template for you. Then we've got the icon that represents at the top left. So this is something that you would want to change. So currently it's just simply called face.jpg. So if you want to make another logo, you do that by changing that image. Then we've also got the fave icon, which I won't talk about now. I'll talk about that later. So basically, this is the place where we keep all of our image assets. Let's just turn that off for the moment. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go into our settings again. We're going to have a look at the general settings and have a look here at this home page image. So can you see here we've got this sideways view of a book. We're going to choose a different image for this now. So I'm clicking here. It takes us back to the media window that we just looked at before, but this time we're actually going to choose a different image by going to upload. So this is actually looking for somewhere for me to choose a picture. So I'm going to go into my Creative Cloud folder, and then I'm looking for my images, and I've got a folder here with some images ready to use. Okay, let's just go back to the icons view, and for this particular one I'm going to use a picture of some books sideways on. Okay, here's the image then that's gone in, and it's just in draft at the moment, but I'm now going to use that image. So I'm choosing that selected image, and that's put that into here. Okay, so I'm now going to publish this, or save this, I should say. And remember, as before, we actually then have the ability to make this permanent by changing the status of it. So currently you'll see that the status is in draft, and if I now go to ready and then publish it, it's just asking me if I really want to do that, because obviously it's going to make a rather radical change here. Okay, now these things don't happen instantly necessarily, but we can actually have a look at the site itself, and I'm just going to click on this link here. But it may not appear instantly, and if we just refresh the page, we may find that it's coming in a few moments. Just while we're waiting for it to appear, it might be just worth explaining a little bit how this is all working. So what we've done there is to make a change to the settings, and those settings are actually held in our GitHub account. So if we look at our GitHub account for this site, you'll see that if I now refresh this page, this is our GitHub account. We don't really need to be looking at this all the time, but this is just for your own interest. If we now look at the where it says update settings, that's happened 1 minute ago. And if we look at this data in here, you'll see if we look at the general settings, a little bit down here, you can see that the header feature image is now uploaded. It's now using this image instead of the one that was there before. So that we know that that's worked there. It's just that it hasn't necessarily reached our live site yet. Let's just refresh that again and see if it's reached there yet. Okay, here we are. So that's now updated that. As you can see, it does take a little while because, after all, this is rather a large image that I've put in here, because I want this image to be scalable, so that if I'm looking at this at on a very large monitor like I am, then obviously that's responsive enough to fill into that space. Okay, so that's just one tip for you. When you're uploading an image in here to use in that banner, then you will need to make sure that it's large enough to display on large monitors, as well as obviously shrinking down to mobile. So if we go down to the typically to a mobile size, then obviously it's going to work. But this site is already designed to be responsive. Okay, so that's one thing that we can change. Now the logo itself, this little icon up in the top left-hand corner, that's actually just just a logo. Well, it's a placeholder for a logo. It's just a simple face image. So if you want to make something different, you need to go into Photoshop or even in Illustrator or something, make an image that's just a small square shape. You can make it square, or you can cut it into a circle, and then simply replace to make it simple for yourself. Just simply replace the image that's called logo in here, rather than actually create a new one. Actually replace the one that's already there. So we can do that again. We do that through our content manager here. So the way that we're going to replace the logo up in the top left hand side is we're just simply going to do that through the media panel. Now we are just simply going to replace this image. So we don't want to actually give it a new name or upload a new image. It's not gonna help. You can obviously upload a new image, and then you'd have to do some work inside the code of the site to actually make sure that you use that image rather than this one. So you'll see what I mean in a moment. I'm basically just going to select this, and I'm going to upload a new image. My new image is somewhere over on my desktop. And it's asking me, do I want to replace that image? In fact, I do. Okay, so that's now done that. I don't have to do anything other than turn that off. And then what we'll actually see, once again, it's going to take a little while for this to refresh, but you should see when we go to our site, we will see in a moment that this is actually, let's just refresh that because it's still looking at the old one. Here we are, we'll see up in the top left hand corner, we've now changed that logo to be this image instead of that little face. Obviously you can change it to your face if you want. You want to put your image up here, your picture up here, you can also do that. So just have an image of yourself and replace the image that's called face and put that up into there. Okay, now let's have a look at a few other things in the settings. So okay, so back to our content area here. Now, for example, let's have again another look at some of these social accounts and share buttons and just see what that actually means. Okay, first of all, when we go into our social media accounts, you'll see that all of this should be empty for you. So there's there's nothing being set up in here at all. But I'm just simply going to put in my my own Twitter account, and then you'll see what that does to the site. So basically, this is a place where you can actually put in the places where you want people to go to look at your accounts elsewhere. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Okay, I'm just going to save that. And then I have to change the status of that to be ready, and I'm going to publish it. So that's gone up onto the site. Once again, it'll take a few moments for that to appear on the live site. But you should see when we look at the live site, if we just simply refresh it, okay, so now you can see what's happened is down at the bottom under in the footer area, we've now got the icon for Twitter has appeared, the little icon, and I can actually, or users of my site, clicking on that will take them to my Twitter account. Now that means that, I mean, effectively, if we go back to looking at these settings again, all of these settings here, once you actually put in your accounts for Instagram and Flickr or whatever it is that you've got, those will then appear as icons down in this space here. So not only is that on the home page, of course, it's on all of the other pages as well. Now that differs from, let's go back, that differs from turning on some share buttons. Now these share buttons are simply turned on. I mean, they're turned off at the moment, but you simply turn them on. What that actually means is that when people are looking at one of the posts, one of your blog posts, if you've got share on Twitter, then that icon on the post will appear, and it will then allow people to share your post, your web page, effectively on their own Twitter account. So it's slightly different from people just going to your Twitter account or your Facebook account. So if I turn on Twitter, again, it's now going to take a little while for this to, let's actually turn them all on so you can see how they all appear. So I've turned them all on now, and if I now save this, and once again simply change the status to ready, and then publish this. Again, it's going to take a little while for this to populate back up onto the website, because obviously remember that we're sending things back and forth up onto the live website. This is not happening locally; it's happening on the live internet. So it's all a question of the time it takes for the data to the information to reach the Netlify account that you've got. So I'm just going to I will go back and then refresh now. There's nothing going to happen on this page. This is the home page. But where this will actually make a difference is when we go to a blog post. So this one here, for example, which as you know is just a sample blog post. Oh, there's a video there which I have to remove. It's just a sample blog post that I've got here. Of course, we've still got the Twitter account at the bottom. But if I refresh this, now you see what we've actually got now are these icons here, which will then allow people to share this post to those accounts. So it would actually create a page effectively that which would go to Facebook or Twitter. A sort of a summary of this page would then be shared on those accounts. So turn those on and off as you like, and then you'll see that that's how that will work. Okay, let's go back to the home page again, and now we'll have a look at the most important thing, I guess, at this stage, which is to look at how we write posts in the blog. So to create a new post, we simply go to the editor. So this is the editor here that we're moving to. It should log us in straight away. For the first time, you may have to look at the credentials there, but actually once you've logged in, you do it. It'll come straight away because it'll remember you. Okay, we're in the post section. You can see we've just got that one post at the moment. So we just click onto New Post, and we're just going to put in a title. for our blog. This is going to be about black letter. Okay, the date is of course automatically put in as it is obviously now. This is the date as now, date and time as now. We want to put a feature image. Optionally, we can put a feature image into each post. I've got a few already up here, but I'm going to go onto here, which is going to allow me to upload a new one. And I'm going to pick this image here, which is of black letter, some black letter lettering on a shop, in a shop front. And I'm going to use that. So with that selected, I just say choose selected. So that's added that into there. So this is remember, this is the banner image. I can put a caption in here, but that's not necessarily going to be displayed, but it will be part of the image, if you like, in the metadata. So I'm going to put that in here. This will be shop lettering in Vienna. We're not going to put the comments on at the moment because we haven't set up an account. We need a Disqus account to get that to work. Now this is the important part really, is this body section here. This is actually where we can edit the text, or add the text and then edit it. And you can see at the moment it's just what we call rich text. So I'm going to actually just paste something in here. I don't want to actually type this all in. I'm just going to copy something that I've got available to me and then paste that in here. Okay, so you can see these are just paragraphs of text, and I can do certain, font changes, or I should say certain style changes in here. So for example, if we want to make these names of these different ways of expressing this particular type of font, this blackface typeface, I can actually make that italics. So you can see we've got an editing bar at the top here. Quite simple, quite straightforward. So we just use that, and then of course, needless to say, we've also got bold as well. We've also got different heading levels. So I'm going to actually put in a different heading here. This will be, say, history in Europe. And then with that text available, with my cursor in that line, I just simply go to the headings and I'm going to choose heading level 2. So as you can see, it automatically provides the sensible formatting, in other words, a heavier font. This is what is going to appear on our site. However, it might be worth having a look at the example post before we finish with this aspect of it, so you can see the other different sort of types of styles that we can use in this body text. One other thing that we might want to do is if we just select this text here, we might want to use a quote for that. So that's how that will appear. Now, this is actually Markdown text, although at the moment we don't have to use Markdown because it's automatically done for us with this very nice rich text toolbar. But if we click off the rich text, you can actually see this is in fact the Markdown, and we'll be talking about this in weeks to come. This is a markup language, and you can see how it works. The second level heading, or heading level 2, if you like, has 2 hashes. The bold, which is down here, has 2 asterisks. This is either side of the letter of the word, and then up here we have 1 single asterisk to provide the italics text. We can turn that off again. There are some other features that we can use. So for example, we can add an image into this as well. So I'm going to do that at this point here. So I'm just making myself a space for it. So again, go to the image, and it's very similar to what we were doing before. We're just going to choose an image. So here are images already in my asset folder, if you like, but I'm going to upload a new one. And this is the one here. And I'm going to choose that one that's selected to use on this post. And the text in here needs to be added in. So this is the Gutenberg Bible. I'm actually using it twice because some of the text will be displayed on the page as a caption. Some of it will be in the alt text for the image, the alternative text for the image, as you may already know about this, or we will talk about this when we talk about more about the HTML and how web pages are constructed. But I'm just leaving that as it is right now, and I'm going to now save this. Okay, so now that that's saved, if we actually go back, this isn't actually live on the site at the moment, because currently it's the status of this is that it's in draft. But you will see that when you up here, just to the left of that status button, you'll see that it is actually building this on your site as a draft, and you can look at this if you like by clicking on this check for preview, and well, it's actually checking for the preview right now, so it's building something for you so that you will be able to preview it. We'll just give that a couple of moments for the preview or the draft to build on your Netlify account, and we can now view the preview. Okay, so here's the preview. So this is not live yet, but it is available for you to see. Okay, and you can review the text and so forth. And now we're just going to go back to the content manager. Okay, so once we've decided that we like what we see, we're happy with it, what we can do is just to simply go to here and look at the workflow for this. So what we actually have then at the moment is something in draft. If you want to take it to the next stage, you can just simply take it into review. And if you're ready for it to be published, then you can put it over here, ready to be published, and simply publish that news entry. So that's now going live to the site, and of course it takes a few moments for it to come live to the site, but we'll go back to the site in a moment here and just refresh this in a moment, and we should see the new post. While we're waiting for that, I'll just go into this post here. This post here actually has quite a few elements, other types of elements that we can actually use to style the page. But you'll also notice something else here. We can in fact edit a page directly from when we get to it. So a post is a unique thing. So this is a unique URL for this particular post. You can see how it looks up here. So it's Lucky Pudding Netlify app, and then we've got the year, the month, and the date, and the name of the post. That's actually the unique place for this particular post, but you can actually edit it directly from here. So I'm going to click on that so that we actually edit it, and I'm going to show you some of these features within this body section. So you can see what we have here. We've got a list, a numbered list, and a bulleted list, an image as well, of course. And just for interest, I'm just going to show you the markdown that is actually then provided. Okay, and it's actually quite interesting because Markdown is used quite a lot in in a variety of text editors, so it's worth learning something about this. Although, as I say, for us, we've actually got a very friendly text editor that we can use directly on our site. Okay, let's have a look and see if that's, yes, so here we now have the live site. So you can see that that's arrived, and you can see already that I've got a very silly spelling error here, and I can actually just edit that straight away. Click on edit this page, and I can then correct that. Correct it, save it, and then you can go through the workflow button if you like up here, or otherwise if you'd rather just go to click ready and click publish now. Okay, so that's basically how it works. We've got quite a lot of work to do on other aspects of the site. For example, the home page, make that as you want it and so on. And then we'll also come back to the site at some point and have a look at what we can do about this menu bar up here, you'll see that we do have some pages available to us. We go back to here and look at this, the editor. You can see if we go back to this, I think it's actually just taking me back round in a circle. I've just got to turn some of these things off here. Okay, so if we go back now to the contents, you see we actually do have pages available to us as well. And at the moment, these are very specific pages that do certain things on the site. So the 404 page is just a site that a page that will be shown to the user if there's something missing. But what you will want to do is to edit this page. So the About page is currently, doesn't really have much anything sensible about it. But once you have edited this page, once you've put in your own information about who you are and why you are and what this site is all about, then once you've done that, you can actually click Show on the menu, like this, save it, change the status again to ready, and publish it. And then again, it's going to take a while for it to appear on the site. So I'm going to just leave that for a moment and then we'll get back to it. So here we are then. So as you can see, we've now got an About item on the menu, which will take me to that page, which of course I haven't really edited, but this is a page for you to edit to create a page about this site, about you and about this site. So obviously images of you, images of where you live, images or just really information about yourself and what this site is all about. Okay, so there we are.